everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, checking in with a weekly garden tour. We are now in the legit middle of April and we are really dry. I'm hoping that we get some substantial rain overnight and tomorrow. We've been really warm, but we have cold temperatures still in the forecast, so it's true spring. I've been out of town most of the week and the garden is looking pretty great. I have my first bachelor buttons blooming, and at the neighborhood entry, well, I won't spoil it because I'll go out there. We'll take a walk together. So let's go on a quick tour, everybody. Well, the Miz America is starting to get a little bit crazy, but I wanted to still be here for the open garden on May 7th. So I think that I am going to cut some of this back. Hopefully it'll still look good for the open house. Well, I have to say, I kind of love it. I think there's plenty of flower buds. It's gonna just push out new growth and it'll probably be blooming for the open garden. And because this bed looks like it's just lacking a little oomph, I'm gonna go ahead and throw out some handfuls of this Dr. Earth organic fertilizer. We have rain, 100% chance of rain in our forecast for tonight and tomorrow, which is so good because it is incredibly dry here. I actually don't remember a spring ever being as dry as we are this spring. We didn't get the normal massive amounts of rain through the winter. We really have hardly gotten any rain at all since March. So hoping we get a good amount with the storm that's headed our way. And going to take this opportunity to go ahead and fertilize some key areas so it'll get watered in well overnight from nature. Well, I got ambitious and trimmed back the Miz America. You can see there's a wheelbarrow full of it. I think it'll still bloom. You see, cut it back to nodes where there's side shoots growing. And soon, this will be replanted for the summer anyway. But it was just starting to flop around, I think, because of the dry. But it was also making it really difficult to keep the pool clean. I just vacuumed it. So I think that was the right choice, trimming it down. You can see the poppies are getting really tall. I mean, they're really starting to stretch. See, they're in the feed tank. They're looking great. I think we're right on schedule for the open garden. This pretty little here is daikon radish flowering. You can see the foliage, and it's gone to a woody root at this stage, but this was self-sown. But I just think those flowers are so pretty, so I always had to leave them randomly. And I've been harvesting garlic scapes. You can see the video from yesterday. And look at these blueberries already starting to grow. Of course, it takes a long time for them to ripen, but it's pretty incredible from flower to berry in really like 2 weeks. Really incredible to see that. Look at this pretty scene. There's Cubby. That's a great native fringe tree blooming right there. I love that these onions are in flower. Again, more blueberries back there. The camellias are starting to recover from the deer damage because of the Orbit Yard Enforcer. Let's get an up close on this. I forget the name of this variety, but this is the native fringe tree, and this is the best it's ever looked. So I'm glad it's finally established. Now this is grafted, and you see I have to cut any growth off from under because that would be rootstock developing. Cubby, that's your job. He's like, yeah, right. So over here, the poppies are definitely growing. We are really in need of water. I have not run any sprinklers yet. And you can see the ground is bone dry. I mean, look at this. It's bone dry. So hopefully we will get a substantial amount of rain And then I think this border will really start to take off. You can see some poppies have gotten really tall. Some larkspur are not quite showing color, but look at that. Lots of flower buds coming. And you can see the bachelor buttons here are really starting to get size. So maybe by next week at this time, we'll have some blooms in this border. Same thing goes for this side. Not quite open, but close. Oop, there's a random Aquilegia. I had thousands and thousands of Aquilegia last year. I don't know what happened to all of them. And along here, these poppies doing great again. And look at the money plant in full bloom down here. I just love this so much. I waited, I should have taken a video of these earlier. The California poppies are really open during the day. You see there's a whole lot of flowers. These are plants that actually have been perennial. Like these two clumps were planted from seed in 2020. The seed I scattered last fall is still small, but those will bloom just a little bit later. It's really nice that a few plants actually made it for a longer period of time. You can see the clumps of barley there are starting to go to seed. And ooh, you guys, it's not open, but first poppy bud. That's exciting. Well, the greenhouse is bursting and I have a million seeds to sow and I have a lot of plants to pot up. Wait till I show you what I brought home. But everything's doing well. You see those dahlias that I overwintered in my crawl space are starting to grow now. And the Prunus mumes that I dug out are looking great. So that's encouraging. So overall, it gets overwhelming, but great to have plants on hand. Of course, over here, the larkspur are also really close. You can see lots of buds. And I started a new bottle wall. A bunch of people brought bottles to the birthday party last week, like already used bottles. So this is not like all from the birthday party, but so I've started a new wall here. And you can see the potatoes that I top dressed have grown a whole lot more in a week. And these ones that don't look like anything have new potatoes planted in them. So these will be probably harvested late June, July, depending. When their foliage starts to look ugly or senesce, that's the time that you harvest it. The buckwheat and crimson clover that Aiden and I sowed less than 2 weeks ago is germinating. I mostly see buckwheat. Nope, here's crimson clover coming. So there we have it. It's be good to fill in some of the gaps. Overall, everything is looking pretty lush. Champagne grape is doing its thing. Here on the north side of the house, the lilacs are just about finished. The red buds are just about done. Jack's camellia has a few flowers still on it. Everything is green. I was in Baltimore this week and it's amazing how much farther ahead we are in North Carolina. Like they barely even had any leaves on trees. Ooh, look at October Affair with some perfect flowers. So around this corner, my next project after I make this video, I am going to replant that window box with succulents and I'm going to plant all of those carex here in some of the open area under this live oak. This is increasingly shady and I am going to actually have the arborist come and do some selective pruning to these this year, but I'd like to get a better ground cover established in here to lower the weed pressure significantly. And this wildfire lettuce combo with garlic is looking great. And you see some alliums have started to bloom with those larkspur behind it and poppies behind there. This area is definitely like more shade than sun now, and I don't know why every fall I underestimate that, but maybe I'll remember this year. And out here into the front border, it's starting, you guys. I know it looks like chaos, but that's what cottage gardens are. But you see the bachelor buttons are starting. I hope I have more than just blue. Last year I had a really good assortment of colors with purple and burgundy and pink. So hopefully I'll have, oh yeah, I do see some pinks over here. And of course, once the poppies and larkspurs start to fill in, I think this border is going to be really dynamic. Over here, look at all of the soon-to-be strawberries. This is, of course, on Snowy Belle, my favorite strawberry of all time. And you can see the snapdragons are finally blooming again. Looking good. These containers gonna be nice for a while out here. And of course, my favorite thing in the whole yard is the barley wall. It's so epic. It's just the most amazing. Look at those beautiful seed heads. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm really pleased with how all the containers out here in the driveway bed look, and across the front. Everything is lush and tall. You can see the parsley is starting to bolt and flower. Hopefully I'll get some swallowtail caterpillars to come and eat on those. Cubby's joining us for the tour, everybody. Look at all these strawberries. This whole ground cover of Chandler strawberries, and they're delicious. Ooh, look. Ha, it's like an Easter egg hunt. I'm gonna let it go till tomorrow, but I'm in direct competition with roly-polies for these strawberries, so I have to be on my game. Of course, I made some floating arrangements today to send my best to everyone in the Ukraine. Over here, these perfectly placed self-sown poppies are looking good, and you can see the Shasta viburnum is in bloom now. And as we make our way over here, this is where I have set up. It's not quite set up as a nursery, it's just sort of staged with plants. Let me show you what I brought home. All right, let's start with mangave, because they're the coolest thing ever. And they had so many varieties, I got overwhelmed. I wanted to give 2 to my mom for 2 urns that she has that I'll show you later this week when I go down to Aiken. And then I got lots of different edibles from the Foodscape Revolution plant line. You can see breeze picks. Here are some tomatoes. I know they're small, but this is peche. This is a really cool variety. Thing is, by the time you should be planting potatoes or tomatoes in the ground here, these will be the perfect size. So I love the seasonality of this. It's still too cold. The ground is too cold for planting tomatoes. There's no benefit. I say this over and over again. There's no benefit to planting tomatoes too early. Now I do have a bunch of stuff to pot up. See, I got all these tiny plugs. So I'll be potting these up. And I got eggplants, lots of different tomatoes. I got different pepper varieties. Ooh, look at this. I got cumin. How about that? Isn't that cool? A whole other tray. Downy mildew resistant varieties of basil, flax. Yeah, I'm really excited about all of the selections that I have, and these will be available during the open garden. So remember, the open garden is free, open to the public, no registration. It is Saturday, May 7th from noon to 4 p.m. Street parking. Last year, my entire neighborhood got filled up. And I will have all of these cool plants for sale. I'll have soil cube available, books, seeds, And this year, for the first time ever, I have a food truck coming. So you can actually plan to come and eat. And I'm actually gonna get a bigger tent. I have a 20 by 20 on order. I think I'm gonna get a 20 by 40 so that we can have a proper area under the tent devoted just to tables and chairs for people to be able to grab lunch and hang out and relax. So I hope you'll plan to come. I think it's really gonna be fun. And I do think that the garden is going to be really colorful and interesting. So you can come and get some cool Mother's Day pictures. Or, you know, if you're a mom and you want to escape your family for a few hours, come on down. So anyhow, I hope that you'll join us for a jolly day of being garden enthusiasts. And these viburnums are looking great. Finally have Viburnum plicatum Mary Milton blooming here. You can see it's very soft pink. And of course the larger is Viburnum macrocephalum. I really love how the two look combined. All right, what do you think of the neighborhood entry? I love the crimson clover and the daikon radish flowers mixed in there. Lots of larkspur to come. See how full it is. The only thing that's ugly in here is the stupid liriope. I hate that plant. I did not put that in here. Of course, you know, there's lots of weeds, but it's a neighborhood entrance, so I have to not care that much. This side looking good. The crimson clover can't be beat, and it's not too tall. But the really exciting thing that I noticed when I pulled in yesterday is these are the first larkspur of the season to bloom out here. There we have it. Spring in a nutshell. Now, oh my God. Seeing all that gives me the heebie-jeebies. Oh, but let me just take a different angle and embrace the beauty of larkspur. Well, as I walk back to the houses, we are gonna break ground the first week of June. So we have some time. Everything just keeps getting pushed back. They've made some progress in the kitchen, but they still haven't finished. It's like the least efficient thing I've ever experienced. But whatever. It is what it is. I'm still hoping to have it live on Airbnb probably by the beginning of June. But again, that's a number that could change. That's definitely not a firm date. What matters is that Cubby is watching over the house to make sure that anyone who stays here is safe. Right, Cubby? Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's garden tour. I have got to get busy and start potting up all those tiny little plugs. I've also got to figure out exactly where it is I'm stashing all of these plants for the next few weeks before the open house on Saturday, May 7th. Well, I wish you all the best this week. And as always, thanks so much for watching, everybody.